Hello, ladies and gents. Welcome to episode 157 of the FAB and Fearless Business Booster Shot Show. My name is Yinka. I am a business strategist, a speaker, a coach, and an incoming author. And I support women to create wealth in and through their businesses by helping them to focus on what matters most for the business, which is cash flow and strategy, and what matters most for the business owner, which is mindset and habits. It is my pleasure to welcome you to this 157th episode of the Booster Shot Show, where each week at 1:30 p.m. UK time on a Wednesday, I come to you with a short, sharp shot to boost both you and your business with one powerful truth and one actionable tip. And if you can see and hear me over on my social platforms on LinkedIn, Facebook, and or YouTube, feel free to jump into the chat, say hello, and let me know that you can see and hear me. Hello, fabulous Jackie. Thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you for letting me know that the tech is not teching. It is working as expected. And we are live on socials. So feel free, jump into the chat, ladies and gents, and let me know how you are doing today on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being, oh my gosh, Yinka, things could not be getting any worse. And 10 being, wow, Yinka, things are awesome and could not be any better. As you can see, I'm in a slightly different location today. Very excited to be coming to you from a secret London location. Having just spent some time face-to-face with the client. Hello, fabulous Nzinga. It's so lovely to have you today. Our topic today is the games that need to stop or the games that need to end. And I'm going to be sharing a bit more on this particular topic in just a moment. I'd love to know how you are feeling though today. Tell me the scores on the doors. Feel free to tag a fabulous friend and colleague in business who you know is amazing at what they do, are fabulous at putting magic in the world, and absolutely want to get involved in that rich and rested vibe. Thank you for sharing today. Jackie's a strong 8. We love to see it. And Zinga was a 5, but now is at a 7 and improving. So you are 7 rising. We love to see it. And we definitely hope for both of you that those scores will continue to rise as you go through the day. I've been pretty high, I'm not going to lie. I was probably a 9.5, but I had to calm myself down so I can remember what I want to share with you today, because today we're talking games. And it's important. Games are fun generally and exciting, but the games that we are absolutely talking about are games that definitely need to end. We have to we have to put a stop to these games, and I'm excited to share more. And so feel free, tag a friend, hit reshare, let the algorithms know that there's a little party over here, and people are definitely going to want to get involved. So let's talk games. Let's talk the opportunity for us to really think about the specific type of games, plural, that came to mind when I was putting together today's session, were the games that are often referred to as the Oppression Olympics. Now, let me know in the chat if you have heard of the expression before, the Oppression Olympics. And I'll share a little bit about why I am talking about this particular topic. Now, obviously, the Oppression Olympics is not an official set of games, and yet they are games that have a significant impact on the life of every person that comes from a group that is in any way minoritized, challenged, finds himself in a space where they are not the majority. Hey, Latrice, lovely to have you in the room. Now, the reason why this is important is because when you look at studies about how women are treated, about how going back to kind of even the start of life, and we look at the difference between how little baby boys and little baby girls are taught to self-soothe and taught to take care of themselves, look after their needs. We see disparities between the expectations that girls and boys have at 6 weeks old. So studies show that And again, because it will, this is human interaction. But studies show that baby girls are taught to self soothe a lot earlier than baby boys. And even at 6 weeks old, baby girls learn to stop crying earlier and to self soothe earlier because their expectation is that no one is coming to soothe them, so they learn to soothe themselves at 6 weeks old. Whereas baby boys are, when they looked at the times, and again, I don't know how they do these studies. I can't even imagine the mothers of these babies. I don't know how they are listening to all of this and listening to these babies cry. But yeah, studies show that little baby girls understand earlier on that their role is to soothe themselves, to sort themselves out. The cuddles and the tending and the soothing is different for them, and therefore they learn to self-soothe earlier, and those differences are picked up as early as 6 weeks old. And the reason I share that is really powerfully reflected in Nzinga's comment in the chat, where she says, wow, feels like I've been training for a gold medal for most of my life. Yeah. And that's the reason why I'm sharing this today. It definitely feels like the girl child, females, babies that are born, whether they hail from the global majority, but if they are living as ethnic minorities, it definitely feels like they were enrolled and co-opted into the Oppression Olympics without them even realizing or knowing. And this is the thing. I love what Jackie said there, because baby girls train themselves to self-soothe as early as 6 weeks old. 6 months would be tough, but actually a 6-month-old baby is pretty capable versus the 6-week-old baby. So it's wild. When I read that, I was really quite profoundly shocked. But then it reminded me, and the reason why this becomes so important is because ultimately you are co-opted into that way of thinking before you're conscious of it. What does that training, what does that social messaging, what does that experience then play into as you build a business, as you decide that you are no longer here to survive, only thrive? What does that play into when you are seeking to create new and different experiences for yourself? Now, the official definition of the Oppression Olympics is where there is a hierarchy of oppression and people are rushing into that victim mentality, and they're like, well, I'm more oppressed. No, I'm more oppressed. No, I'm more oppressed. That's the official definition of the Oppression Olympics if you were to search for it. But there is another definition and another layer to the experience of the Oppression Olympics that really plays into our experience of women building something other than what we've been taught is readily available to us. Because Oppression Olympics, as I said, are the games that need to stop. Why? Because it causes women to behave in ways that are so counterproductive to their thriving and to their well-being. It sees them buying into the good martyr myth of the suffering and smiling paradigm. And it sees women putting their goals and dreams on deferred, literally putting it on layaway all the time. It sees women, instead of really boosting and building into what is theirs, it sees women constantly putting what they want, what they need on the back burner, because that's what they've been taught makes them a good mother, wife, daughter, woman. Ladies, let me know in the chat if this is resonating with you, if you can see how the social conditioning that you have received, that you have experienced, finds you competing in the Oppression Olympics. Drop in the chat and let me know if this is resonating with you. Because it absolutely, when I first discovered the notion and I first discovered the insight and how it worked, it definitely resonated with me. And the thing was that I was never I was never trying to win the oppression Olympics. I was just trying to be who I believed I was supposed to be. And therein lies the point. Because that supposed to, that should, that expectation, that didn't come from me. That came from society, that came from religion, that came from family. And don't hear what I am not saying. Do not hear what I am not saying. I am not suggesting ditch society, burn your family, screw religion. That's not what I am saying at all. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying, though, is that for you to truly be a good woman, a good mother, a good wife, a good daughter, it's important for you to begin to define what that actually means in the context of what is best, not only for everyone else, but what is also best for you. Because the thing about the oppression Olympics is that nobody wins. The gold medalist doesn't win. No one in the oppression Olympics ultimately wins. This is why this is the game that has to stop. These are the games that have to end. Supposed to is the biggest thief of wellness and well-being, like on this planet. I really feel strongly about that. But it's also the biggest thief of cash flow and potential. And I'm not suggesting there are no supposed tos. Of course, there are supposed tos. But whose are they? And for whose benefit are they? These are questions that we have to ask ourselves rather than blindly following and going along. And that's the thing. The more they can keep you distracted, the more they can keep you stressed, busy, and broke, the less effective you are to be able to challenge, to be able to question, to be able to think differently. So you can see how powerful it is where women, girls and women, and many boys too, let's not front. But so many people are entered into the oppression Olympics and they weren't even made aware. Yeah, you can see why I feel quite strongly about this one. I'm gonna take a breath before I say something else. But you can see the damage that these oppression Olympics are doing. You can see the challenge that it's creating. You can see how we have been socialized into buying into the things that literally seek to oppress us as a means of winning a badge or winning an accolade or an award that doesn't actually serve us. You can see how so many things are built on the back of that system. And this is the reason why, even though it is expressed and experienced individually, this is the reason why I think the notion or the concept of the oppression Olympics is so important, because it's far deeper than any individual person. It is systemic. It is systemic, it is structural, it is happening across the board. It's not just happening to you. And yes, there are spectators, people are observing that this is happening to you. And, I can't go as far as to say it's for their own entertainment, but it certainly is for their benefit. And so when I had first heard about the concept and I began to read into it and to really understand what it meant, I felt quite aggrieved. And I felt quite aggrieved because I'd never heard of it. I'd never heard of it. I'd never thought of it. And yet it was so real and present in my own experience. And then I began to see little signs of its experience and its presence in so many areas of my own personal life. as a mother, as a wife, as a business owner, as a Christian, as a Black woman, as somebody who wants to create good in this world. It just kept showing up in so many different places. And I was like, okay, stop. I needed to have a better understanding of it. I needed to understand just to gain an awareness. Because we cannot, and this again is the powerful truth that remains true as ever as it does today, but that you cannot even begin to change what you are not aware of. I believe it is James Baldwin who says, not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it's faced. And this was something that wasn't even aware of to face. But the question that I began to ask myself is, okay, where am I in this game? Where am I playing this game? Where is it taking from me my well-being, my wealth, my health, my peace of mind? Who are the beneficiaries of me not having these things in place, or me trading them for these symbols of, social acceptability? Who is defining good wife, good mother, who are making these definitions, and do these definitions ring true for me? Because not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. And so, yeah, it's really interesting as I began to do more research, as I listened to so many women who are, considering working, in my spaces, or, sorting out their cash flow, understanding the role that money is playing, right? And instead of using it to push them forward, they're seeing it hold them back. And yet, Oppression Olympics is then coming along to say, well, you shouldn't want more anyway. You should just be happy with what you've got. Oh, don't take too many risks. Oh, you don't want to, put yourself out there, be out there. You don't want to sell. You don't want to behave in a way that isn't socially acceptable. Just be grateful. Oh, don't even get me on the sidebar of the just be grateful of the just be grateful train that we are currently on. And, shout out to the incredible Nadia Hussein, who is talking about this in terms of her own experience with the BBC. So not only are you, dealing with so many things that you're dealing with, but you're also then taught that, well, you should just be grateful. Ladies and gents, you should absolutely be grateful for life, for health, for wealth. But you don't have to be grateful for being in the room and being disrespected. You get to be human. You get to feel annoyed. You get to feel sad. And again, that is another layer of how the Oppression Olympics socializes us into having different expectations of what we should be able to express, but also what we should how we should be treated, what our experience should be. So yeah, it's been a really powerful insight when looking further into these games. These games are not playing. These are not games for playing. And yet you may well think to yourself, well, I don't want to play this game. And I'm like, I don't blame you. But I'm also minded that it's unlikely you put yourself in the game in the first place. But more often than not, you're in it now. So this is where it becomes so incredibly important to make sure that you have the opportunity to really ask yourself, am I in this game? Have I been actively competing? Am I shortchanging myself? Am I focusing on an external definition or an external validation when what I really need to focus on is internal? Zinga, I love what you shared here. Can you imagine being grateful? Imagine being told to be grateful for being thrown scraps because it's a room that we don't always have access to. Exactly. The nerve, the actual nerve. But ladies, the reason why I wanted to share this is because these are games that need to stop. But part of how we stop these games is awareness, is reflection, and is understanding the systems and structures that created these scenarios and how the role of cash flow, wealth, spelled WELLTH, because that has to include your health. Your wealth is one of your weapons. Your health is one of your weapons. And so your choice to thrive, your choice to live in abundance, your choice to create cash flow in a way that propels you forward to your dreams rather than holds you back from them. This is how we stop these games. So it's one thing to say that the games need to stop. It's another thing to know how to actually go about beginning to get yourself to get out of the games. And as I said, your health, your wealth, your cash flow understanding, you taking charge economically, you prioritizing well being, you giving yourself time and space to think. These are all weapons of warfare that will see you coming out of the games. And so, my one actionable tip for you today, as I sign off, is to ask you, have you been competing? Have you been aware of you competing in the Oppression Olympics? Are you happy to continue to compete for those medals? And if so, enjoy. And if not, then what are you going to do differently? How are you going to change your experience? How are you going to shift out of the lack, out of the frustration, out of that systemic way of being? This is why the work that I do, honestly, I keep talking about it, rich and rested for the win. How we get out of the Oppression Olympics is rich and rested, not all, both health and wealth. You cannot have one without the other. They are not sustainable independently. Health without wealth doesn't last, and wealth without health makes you miserable anyway. And so please, please, please take the opportunity to ask yourself these questions. Where are you subscribing to what isn't serving you? Because make no mistake, you are choosing. If you have awareness, you are choosing by commission. You are actually proactively choosing. But if you're unaware, you're still choosing through ignorance and omission. It doesn't make it any less a choice. And so I invite you to exercise your choice, to move forward, to decide where you really want to be. And if you want to play the games, you know me, I'm like, play to win. Unfortunately, these are not games that we get to win, which is why I'm out. But you choose for you. I'm not calling you out. I'm asking you if you want to be out. Because choice is the most powerful part of all of this. And so, ladies and gents, that is everything I wanted to share with you today. I really hope that this has been useful. Thank you so much for joining me. And I really look forward to seeing you in the spaces. I have a really exciting, sneaky event coming up. We are just We've been moving some things around because it was recently my wedding anniversary and I had so much fun. So we just shifted a few things. So if you are really passionate about taking this seriously, about not allowing your cash flow to hold you back, but actually to propel you forward, to make the choices, live the life, have the dreams that you want, then my event coming up next week, it is going to be my last free masterclass for the foreseeable future. It will be happening next week. I believe off the top of my head, and I should have prepared this before fumbling on the dates. I believe it's next Wednesday, 16th of July. And it's a free online masterclass. And we will be covering this and so much more. We will help you to stop guessing, to stop faffing around, and to really make your cash flow. And so if you want to find out more information about this particular masterclass dropping next week, then feel free to drop me the word cash flow either in the comments or the DMs, and I will send over a link for you to sign up. As I said, this is a free masterclass. It is the last of the free masterclasses that I will be having for the foreseeable. And for those of you who have come to a Yinka event, you know that it is full of actionable, real tips, real strategies that you can use and take away. There is no come and listen to my story and buy my thing. That's not a masterclass in my world. So for anyone that you know that does magic, puts magic in the world, creates incredible value for so many others, and can definitely and should want more around being rich and being rested, then feel free, tag them into this video, drop the word cash flow, and I will be really happy to share more and to share the link to bring people into the spaces. So ladies and gents, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure. I really appreciate you. Ladies in the chat, Jackie, Laratu, and Zinga, about 5 different LinkedIn users. So frustrating, I don't know your names, but thank you for joining me live today, ladies and gents. I really, really appreciate your attention, and I look forward to seeing you in the spaces. Take care, have a good one, and I will see you soon.